အားလုံးပဲမင်္ဂလာပါ MT Mobile Recap Channel လေးကနေပြန်လည်ကြိုဆိုလိုက်ပါလဲဒီကနေ့မှာတော့ရှင်ပညာကာရရဲ့ interview အပိုင်းချက်မှ session C ကိုဘာသာပြန်ပြီးမှဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီပိုင်းမှာတော့ရှင်ပညာကာရဟာဗုဒ္ဓကာရမှာဘလို့ဒိဋ္ဌံပြုခဲ့တာလဲရှင်ပညာကာရဟာဗုဒ္ဓကာရရဲ့ထူးခြားချက်တွေကိုဘလို့ပြောခဲ့လဲဆိုတာကိုဒီဗီဒီယိုလေးမှာဘာသာပြန်ပေးထားတာပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်အားလုံးတူတူကြည့်လိုက်ရအောင်ပါ
I'm curious, speaking about this kind of contact between Mahayana and Theravada and you being drawn, your story of being inspired to ordain reminds me of the story of Patachara. And I think this is the one you're referencing where she pours that foot washing water and she sees part of the water goes a little bit and then sinks into the ground and then part of it goes farther. And she thinks, beings can die when they're young or when they're middle aged or when they're old, and then goes into her hut and turns off a candle and or extinguishes a candle and becomes enlightened. So that lesson coming from the tree and the leaf is just quite profound. And one thing I'm curious about is, speaking about this intersection of Mahayana and Theravada, your path, obviously you're in Theravada robes, but your life has also been framed in so many ways in robes as a gift. And I think one of the first indications I saw of that on your website, at least, or on the Dhammachaitya website, is the value made. And it's a quite, it's phrased in quite profound and powerful language of lifetimes. So would you talk about what inspired you to make your vow and why you made, or what it is?
Yes, Ajahn. This is where it started with. Back then when I just ordained, newly ordained, and then I tried to learn more about Buddhism. I went online on YouTube and then start to search about Dhamma talk and things like that. Try to listen, to learn more, to get more knowledge about it. And then I came across to some of the talk is just said that for those ladies who accidentally got pregnant and have to deport their babies. And then if they already done that, then just write down, just get one of the sutta called Địa Tạng Kinh in Mahayana tradition. It's a Địa Tạng Kinh Bồ-Tát. It's one of the bodhisattva that is well known in Mahayana tradition. Địa Tạng is about the earth bodhisattva.
First or Jisu Bodhisattva.
Probably was. And so they say that just write that down about him. Write his name down, Địa Tạng Vương Bồ Tát, and write that sutta down for 1,000 times. Then their karma about deportation of the baby will be wiped out, will be removed completely. And I was like, really? Is this something the Buddha taught? Is it really that Buddha teach all this? How can it be? Because this is just like, this is not right at all for me. But by that time, I didn't know much about Buddhism. And keep thinking, and I learn about Tipitaka. And I start to read more about it. And I found out that, all those things that taught online and then, is taught by many teachers and many monks, and they always claim that this is the Buddha teaching, this is the Buddha teachings, but obviously it wasn't, right? If they want people to understand, if they want people to follow, then they claim those to be the Buddha teachings. And so those are misleading. And a lot of people follow and believe in that, right? And I asked myself, this generation, my generations, we still have knowledge to understand what is right, what is wrong. But come to the Buddha teachings, all his teachings, we are completely blind like this. And what about the future? My students and my students, what about them? What are they gonna base on to study, to practice? Because later on, it will be much more misleading teachings, right? And so I was worried so much about the future generation because of all these things that I read and listened online. And I told myself I need to do something. I need to do something to preserve the true Dhamma for the future generations. But by that time, I didn't know what to do. I just have that kind of mindset, that thought. And then I get to go to India once with my teachers and the lady Buddhis here. When I entered into the Bodh Gaya area, by far away outside, and I be able to see the Bodhi tree and the top of the stupa, and I cry. I break down and cry a lot about standing outside looking in. I cry, and I didn't know why. And then I went inside and paid homage to the Buddha and Bodhi tree, and then I sat there under the Bodhi tree to meditate for a while. And then in my mind, I would just wish, what can I do? What should I do to protect the Buddha Dhamma, to preserve it, and to spread it widely? And then continue meditating. After a while, I see some of the top of the jetty. So when I keep seeing all those spear of the jetty in my mind, and I was thinking, okay, then I should do something. I should do something about building the stupa sites to preserve all the Buddha teachings, right? And so when I seen all those spears of the jetty in my head, and I think that, okay, I should build a site to preserve all the Buddha teachings. But to build a site, you have to have a large land and a decent number of the jetty, the stupa, in order to inscribe all those suttas on it. And I wanted to do it in stone, because this is the way to preserve it longer in this world. And so by that time, I made a vow under the Bodhi tree. From here on, I made a vow that I will build, if I have a chance, I will build the stupa sites to preserve the Buddha Dhamma. And that will last for 1,000 years for all the future generation to get to learn the true Dhamma. But I didn't know that, how many languages I should put in there, or how many countries that actually have the Tipitaka in Pali. So I just make that wish, that vow under the Bodhi tree. Just one vow under the Bodhi tree, and then I went to sightseeing for many other sacred places of the Buddha. And I continue making that vows. But when I make that vows under the Bodhi tree, I feel like when I close my eye, I feel like my body is moving. It's just like everything is moving. And so that is the feeling, the sensation that I would never forget. Right? And then after that vow in both under the Bodhi tree of the Bodh Gaya, it took 7 years for me to continue with that vow silently. So everything I do, any wholesome deeds and wholesome things that I cultivate or I do, I just continue to making that vows, wishing that one day my vow will come true, that I be able to do it. Yes, 7 years of doing that. That is where it started.
Bhante, that's so meaningful to hear. And you're right, we consider, we see these teachings online, and it seems like they're so you know, sustainable, but really if in terms of the long-term longevity, or if a data center goes out or something, like where are they then? And you're the third person I've spoken to who's had that sense of the earth shaking under them at Bodh specifically. I've never heard it anywhere else. So there's a power to that also.
ဆုံးဖြတ်ကြည့်ရှုပေးတဲ့တယောက်ချင်းစီတိုင်းကျမ်းမာပျော်ရွှင်ပြီးပြည့်စုံတဲ့ဘဝများကိုပိုင်ဆိုင်နိုင်ကြပါစေ။ MT Movie Recap Channel လေးကိုလည်း Subscribe လုပ်ပေးခဲ့ဖို့တောင်းဆိုပါရစေ။တစ်စစ်သူကတော့ MT ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အားလုံးကိုကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်ရှင်။